She was sitting quietly in the corner of the cafe, her hands folded in her lap, staring at the menu board as though she could will the numbers to shrink. She wasn't here for the coffee. She didn't have the money for that. She just wanted to feel human for a moment, to be surrounded by warmth and chatter instead of the cold streets outside. But the staff noticed her sitting too long without ordering, and soon one of them came over. Their voice wasn't cruel, but it was firm. "Ma'am, if you're not ordering, you can't sit here." A few people in the cafe glanced up, some whispering, some rolling their eyes, others looking away as if they hadn't seen anything. And then came the moment that shattered her little escape. She was asked to leave. The cafe's warmth vanished instantly, and she stood frozen, cheeks burning with shame, trying to keep her tears from falling. It was then that a man stood up from across the room. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with the weary yet kind eyes of someone who had lived through struggles of his own. His little girl was sitting at the table beside him, drawing on a napkin with crayons. He had overheard the whole thing. Without hesitation, he walked up to the staff and said, "Excuse me, she's with me. I invited her." The cafe worker hesitated, then backed off, muttering something about policies. The woman looked up at him, stunned. Her lips trembled as she whispered, Why would you do that?" He smiled softly and guided her to his table. "Because I know what it's like to feel invisible," he said. "Please sit here. You don't deserve to be treated like that." His daughter looked up with curious eyes and then beamed, pushing her crayon drawing toward the woman as if to say, "You belong here." That simple act broke the wall she had built around her heart. She sat down slowly, her body trembling, not from fear but from the sudden weight of kindness. As they sat together, she opened up in fragments. She had lost her job a few months ago and had been sleeping in shelters. She didn't want pity. She just wanted to feel normal again, to sit in a cafe like anyone else. The father listened without judgment, only with the patience of someone who knew pain himself. He told her how, years ago, he had been left alone to raise his daughter after his wife passed away. There had been nights he couldn't afford dinner for both of them, nights he wondered if he was failing as a father. "But," he said quietly, glancing at his daughter, "we survived because someone once chose kindness when they didn't have to. That's the only reason we're sitting here today." The woman's tears finally fell, but this time they weren't just from shame. They were from relief. In that cafe, she wasn't invisible anymore. She wasn't a problem to be removed. She was human again, seated in the place of honor that kindness creates. The little girl reached for her hand and whispered, "You can sit with us anytime." It was the kind of pure, unconditional acceptance only a child could offer, and it filled the woman's heart with something she thought she had lost forever: hope. By the time they left the cafe, the air outside didn't feel quite as cold. She walked with a straighter back, still carrying her burdens, but no longer carrying them alone. And for the single dad, it was just another reminder that sometimes the greatest gift we can give someone is simply saying, "You belong." In a world so quick to turn its back, that one act of compassion had rewritten her entire day, and maybe even her future. The message lingered. Kindness costs nothing, but it has the power to give someone back their dignity, their hope, and their strength. And sometimes, one seat offered in a cafe can feel like a seat at the table of humanity itself. Would you like me to also craft 5 picture prompts for this story, perfect for a YouTube video thumbnail and scene illustrations?